Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Random Phantom. I'm your host, RavenWood, and give me a second to fix you. You need to be fixed. You need to be stopped. Give me a second. That's not good. There we go. All right. Okay. Now up to the face. All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay. Sorry, I didn't test this before the stream, but hey, here we are. Okay. So give me 1 second. I have to go and do something real quick. Let me just set this aside. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Random Phantom. I'm your host, RavenWood, and welcome back to RavenWood Reads, The Artificer, part 106. Okay, just kidding now. Episode 58, actually. Um, we're finally at the epilogue. We're here. Yay! We're about to kill this book. Stab it. Okay, just kidding. We're about to end this book. Well, that's to say it's to kill, end, and so whatever. Well, we're about to end this. Finish reading this book all together. Yes, yes. And then we can move on to Jurassic Park. Well, I say move on to Jurassic Park, but we also have other books to read or in stories to read. Let me go grab the books real quick. All right, I'm back. Give me a second. Sorry. I'm back. Okay, so there are some stories to read. We have got to read Markheim, which is way over here. Yeah, Markheim by Robert Louis Stevenson, and for this book we're on page 114. So yeah, this book, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Stories by Robert Louis Stevenson. But it's not the complete collection of Robert Louis Stevenson. Of course, likewise, we have this book by Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park and the Lost World, but we'll primarily focus on Jurassic Park. Then there is Five Nights at Freddy's Fazbear Frights #1 Into the Pit. But we all have to read the third. I think we're on to the third story. Count the Waves. Oh yes, I this is actually kind of a scary. This is actually very, not very. This is actually kind of, it's a neat story. It's a very, yeah. If this is the one that I am thinking of, this is this is this actually kind of gives me a little bit of the chills. then there's also a bonus story at the end of this about a detective. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so yeah, I've already read this, and I've read some of the second book. I think I'm on to book 3. No, I'm not on to book 3. I'm almost done with book 2, and I'll be on to book 3. But I've decided to stop reading the Fazbear Frights on my own, so I can be more surprised later on. But unfortunately, I can't do that with the beginning parts of these stories. So yeah, we'll eventually go back to reading the Fazbear Frights. Just Dominic really wants to read this, and the only way to get him out here to read with me on RavenWood Reads is to read this. So right after this is done, right after the Artificer's done, we'll read Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park, and then we won't read The Lost World just yet. I would like to take a break from this book and then read Fazbear Frights. So yeah, the third and final part of the Fazbear Frights. So yeah, we'll read this, get this done. Oh, well, right now, let's focus on this. Read this right now. Read Jurassic Park and finish this. And then we will either pick up a new book or continue reading this. Actually, I think this deserves another story reading. Yeah. Well, once this is finished, once this is finished, then we'll finish this, and then we'll read more of this, I guess. And then I guess maybe read The Lost World or something like that. And then read another Fazbear. Start another Fazbear book. And then either read this, depending on when it's come out. Read the side stories. Oh yeah, I'll get the side stories. There is another book that I do want to start reading, but I don't have it yet. I don't have his side story stuff yet either. Hopefully I can get some sort of hardcover version of his side stories, because that's how I roll. Is reading the hardcover stuff. So yeah, there's a lot to read here, and I just need to start finishing books. So I need to finish this, even though there's no movie or show coming out soon or whatever. There is a game, it's already out, but and I do need to buy that. That's like a Christmas gift I didn't get yet. So it's more of a New Year's gift. So I'll get Dominic a New Year's gift to him. But yeah, the idea is that after the Artificer's done, Jurassic Park. Now, what I could do is flip between the two, because it depends. Well, anyways, I need to keep going. Anyways. So let's put this here, put that there, put this here, put that all right here on the side. Now, what I'm going to do is finish the Artificer, then tell you my final thoughts on all of it. So yesterday I had a prelude of my final thoughts, and I did repeat myself several times about my point, but I feel like now that I had some time, some sleep, some time and whatnot to think about it through, I would like to fully maybe clarify on a few things. This is better than what I have. This is better, not by leaps and bounds. No, this is better. Okay, so in comparison, so only Raymond McNeil would know what I'm talking about, or Celtic Phoenix, whatever he wants to go by. Only the writer this book will know what I'm talking about. As far as I like and enjoy an actual good story, right? This is a good story. Don't get me wrong. If I were to compare between the two YouTubers, between you, since I'm technically talking to the writer now, to everyone that's watching this, that's not the writer. I'm talking to only to the writer right now. So close your ears. Just kidding. This is not a private conversation. This is me talking to the writer. So I'm going to pretend I'm talking to him for a second. In comparison between two YouTubers, now I haven't read a whole lot of you. I'm not going to purchase the Shed book. I'm not going to do it live here. I'm not going to read the Shed book here. What's done is done on his channel. I have been there. You can hear me react or whatever. I don't react much. I don't say much. I do react. I don't say much. But everyone else has basically said what basically everyone else has been thinking. In Bad Fan Fiction Night, the Celtic Phoenix Productions YouTube channel. So yeah, as far as between the two, now go back me talking to the writer. As far as between the two writers of the story, it should be obvious to you that obviously I'm going to continue reading your content, your stuff, your published work. I have not read or watched or whatever. Well, no, just mostly read. I have not read any other YouTuber books or stories or novels. I am planning to read Corey Kinchin's Monsters We Made. Monsters We Make? Whatever. I just don't have time to get it right now. I do have time to get it, but there's a checklist of things to get. I wanted to get it out of the way, and instead of getting stuff that I have a prioritized reading list of stories to buy and get and whatnot. So yeah, there's that. So, but out of between the two, I'm definitely going to keep reading this. And my feelings for Shad's book, no, I don't recommend it to anyone. Not even not even to it. He's apparently a Mormon Christian. Yikes. Not yikes on the Christian part, maybe a little bit yikes on the Mormon part. I don't know how to feel about Mormons as a whole. Just pray for them. Just pray for them as they would pray for us if they don't like us, or that's how we just roll when it comes to Christians. We just, you do you, or not do you, but you. It's your mission. Your life is between you and God. But no, I wouldn't recommend any Christian to read his book. I wouldn't recommend any non-Christian to read his book. It's not that it's that bad. It's just that bad. I don't mean to be mean or anything. He just needs, if he were to, I definitely recommend that he thinks about, I hope, and I definitely recommend that he thinks about his story. Okay. And think about it from this perspective. Okay, if Shad just so happens to watch this for some reason because someone tells him that I mentioned his book or whatever reason, so I don't know. If he somehow watches this or whatever, I will say to you, sir, would yours, just think about this from my perspective as a Christian and you as a Mormon, would your story, I don't want to say, oh, what is your story, please God, or whatever. No, would you recommend your own story? Let's say, even if you decide to remaster your book, like maybe you decide to rewrite your book for whatever reason. Maybe you actually listen to our criticism and you decide to rewrite the book or story, but ask yourself, really, like, would you recommend it to other Christians? Most Christians, whether they're Mormon or not, even are then. My mom, for example, she's not really into the whole stories about the sensitive topics. Even if the stories do have sensitive topics or issues or whatever, like the content that's in your story, uh, yeah, I don't. Again, I don't recommend this to any other. I don't recommend your story to other Christians because they're not very, what do you call it, faint of heart, I guess. Uh, there are some Christians that will read, like, obviously non-Christian books. I, for example, will read a lot of non-Christian books. I don't say this is a Christian book. Fast Bear, Five Nights at Freddy's is written by a Christian, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a Christian story. I mean, I can put in a Christian, insert Christian morals from my perspective and whatnot, or what I believe it would be right, and put in the. But It's not saying, oh hey, do this, do that, or do whatever, blah blah, blah, believe in God or whatever. It's not saying the story is not saying that. I know I'm rambling and ranting in 20 minutes, nearly 20 minutes. It's 17 minutes, but nearly 20 minutes into the stream, not reading it. But a decent sized epilogue. I don't. I kind of want to run some time here, But anyways, I know this has been sort of a ramble and a rant, but the point that I'm trying to make is, I don't recommend your story to any Christian. I can't. I don't. It has a good principle, a good concept of like, how Christians, we say, like, okay, anybody can be redeemed, anybody can be saved by Jesus Christ, but your story has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. And granted, it's a fantasy world where it's completely different from our world, completely, right? But it's such a weird. It's such it. What's the point of it being a redemption story if in that world you can, in the world that character lives in, why bother if your character can defend his actions as necessary? You put your character in a position where he has power. He was an awful person. Blah blah blah. He gets reincarnated into his younger self, not into a son. No, not into a illegitimate child or whatever. No, he gets reincarnated into himself, but younger, with a slightly older body, or whatever. And he goes onto a journey trying. I don't know what the plot is. Whereas Kraft, the other hand, he gets isekai'd, right? He comes from nowhere. He dies because he's lazy, or he dies because, well, yeah, let's call it laziness. He dies of laziness, and overindulging himself into playing his MMO, right? Dies alone, basically. Blames Kai for everything. Um, and he he goes on a path not to redeem himself. Actually, no, he doesn't actually. No, he goes on a path to be free, so he can be free again. He doesn't set the record straight. He doesn't look for a way to get his memories back. He doesn't decide to be nice to people because paragon of truth and whatnot. No, Kraft doesn't go on any redemption arc. Does he do things that may or may not atone for his situation? Sort of. Saving people's livelihoods, not lives. He endangers their lives because he's selfish. My opinion, doing all this because of him, because of the fact that he doesn't want to be under someone else's thumb, right? He doesn't want to work for a guild or whatever. Goes on. That's a very selfish reasoning, right? Now, granted, he was nearly killed by this jerk, right? And I understand, okay, he's rebelling against these horrible people, right? And he's rebelling against the prince, understandably, and he's trying to make these people's lives better. But I wouldn't say it's because he's going out of his way to atone. It doesn't. I don't know what his goal is other than to be free. Probably to live a better life than his previous life. And so far we see that. But there are some struggles for me there. I will say that. There's some struggles for me to understand what his goal is, and it doesn't seem like he doesn't actually have a goal, a personal goal. There's a difference between rebelling against Arwitz and the prince and Garku, right? I feel like there's a difference between putting a stop to this, right? But I feel like that's not a personal goal per se, other than to not be under their thumb for business reasons. So it's not like he's doing it for him. It feels like, in a sense, like he's doing this, yes, for himself, but not for like his being, I guess. Like he's not. I don't know how to say this. And now he has a new goal. He does have a new goal, right? And it's to show the Beyonder what for. Basically, it seems like this new goal is to basically say, you literally put me on this earth, this planet, not this earth. You literally put me on Echion to basically be your entertainment. And I lasted longer than most individuals. I actually, now to think about it, in the back of my mind, that trope is kind of just, oh hey, you you lasted longer than most people. It would actually be interesting if he didn't last as long as all of his other entertainment character, all of his other puppets, I guess. So basically his puppet, in a sense. I mean, I guess he's trying to break free. No, he doesn't have to break free from the Beyonder. He just has to, because he is free. The Beyonder gave him free will to do whatever he wants so that he can be entertained. The problem is that and now the Beyonder has, I think what the Beyonder means by like all these things that are happening to him, right? I don't think he has control over these people's lives per se, but he's kind of sort of just knocking over the right dominoes. The Beyonder feels like he's a type of god that's, since he's a trickster god, he's not forcing these people to go after Christ. I think what he's doing is just knocking over the right dominoes to he's pulling certain strings, right, to make Kraft's life miserable. Um, or at least to toy with Kraft, and he's surprised that Kraft it has lasted this long. Um, that's anyways. But going back to the point I was making, it. I hate to be critical of this, but I'm trying to compare the two. It is much better, and it's much drawing. It's much more entertaining than Shad's. Because whereas Shad's story, his story, just to compare between the two YouTubers, I mentally check out every. Did I remember every? I am there for every stream, but and I remember everything that happens in the story, but like I'm just sitting there like a guy that's strapped to the chair and just like because technically I would be hypothetically speaking, like if I were to read this on my own, right, I would have dropped the story after. I feel like I would have dropped, if I were to be honest, I would have dropped the story after the situation between the. I'm going to say this as cleanly as possible. After the situation between the father and the between the father and the daughter, where he saves a little girl from, let's call it abuse, from the father. I would have dropped it there because like it's just like the story seemed like it was going nowhere, and let's say hypothetically if I continued to read Shad's book, I would have definitely dropped. I would definitely threw the book away after the fact that his goal to get a new identity or a fake identity, right? I would have thrown the book away the moment they discarded that. I forgot how they discarded that, but apparently he had a conversation with I think the police or something. I wasn't really paying attention during that segment. I was listening to the best I could. But he now doesn't have a reason. He doesn't have a goal. Well, like he doesn't have a. For some reason, you dropped that goal of giving him a separate identity, a fake identity, because it was all right or whatever. Well, it's okay to drop certain goals for new ones, but like at this point, it's just this story's just bland. Like it's just things just happen. Whereas at least there's a path with this one, right? You can actually follow a path. I will say that positively with uh, the Artificer. It feels like me personally that Kraft doesn't have a personal goal. Well, he does have a personal goal, but he doesn't have like one for like set. Like it doesn't feel like a like it like how do I say this? What it feels like how Louise set like personal goals versus like if you like personal goals versus what life throws at us as two different things, right? With Shad, he's trying to stop a kidnapping ring, right? That's what life throws at him. He's been trying to stop. Hey, let's for the for my channel a kidnapping ring, right? He's trying to stop kidnapping happening in the world that he lives in, right? Okay, that's the in world thing, that the in world goal, what the world wants him to complete, right? Versus his personal goal, which is create a new identity for himself, basically. Whatever. For Kraft, I don't know. Like he now has a personal goal. It's to basically to thwart the Beyonders' plan, which it took a while for us to get there. I will admit, it took us a while to get to Kraft's personal goal versus what the world throws at him. The goal that the world throws at him, which is, oh hey, Orowitz, the prince, and Garkuo wants him out of the picture, right? Whereas his personal goal is now he wants to thwart the Beyonders' plan. Okay, and with that, I have to say, in comparison, yeah, I'm definitely going to buy more of his content. I am not going to buy any more of his other content. Now, if there were other YouTubers or other content creators that are on YouTube, whatever, YouTubers, right, for me to read, and if you want to recommend me a story from another YouTuber, I will gladly do so. I'll gladly try to read their stories or whatnot. Shads, no. We've covered that on Bad Fan Fiction Night. Now, unless we cover other stories from other YouTubers on Bad Fan Fiction Night, then those will stay on there. I guess. I've heard that other writers other than Shad that have written their own actual published work, right? Their actual story, and I've heard from a lot of people, it's just mid. Oh, it's just garbage. Oh, it's low tier trash or whatever. I want to judge it for myself. Now, for this book, is this trash? Is this mid? Is this do I throw it in the garbage and burn it alive, or, or do I recommend no, have zero recommendations? No, I think it's mid. Okay, just sorry. No, I think it's not Wizard of Oz or Dr. Jekyll levels of greatness or anything like that. Not nearly anything like that. No, I don't care. Again, like I said in the previous stream, which I will cover more about my thoughts after I finish reading the epilogue. As I said previously, it lacks certain stuff. I want to say it's mid, but it's like it's above mid. You know what I'm saying? It works. What you got here works. I hope you continue in the sequel, in the next story, to make it even better, right? Even just like even more exciting, something more engaging, something for me to actually enjoy. No, I enjoy this, but like more enjoyment. Right? Me just being like, yes, I love this. I love every moment. I am not there yet with this story, or I haven't reached that with this story at all. There is stuff that's good in here, but I just like it's there. It exists. It's good. I will put this on a bookshelf. I will recommend it to somebody, but I won't recommend it to everybody. I do recommend my viewers or whatever to at least buy and support him and go to subscribe to his channel, not my channel. Delete my channel. Jarvis, delete my channel altogether. Delete everything. Jarvis, please cancel me on Twitter. Jarvis, make them say horrible things about me. Anyways, I need to read. We've gone 30 minutes into this live stream. Now I haven't read a single word. Epilogue. It's so epic. It logs. Okay, so let's see. Declarations made, semicolon. We couldn't even go one sentence without a semicolon for the epilogue. Okay. Anyways, declarations made. Semicolon. A strained period stretched taut over the coastal nation of Hakaj. The newly minted protectorate of the Artificer started as a scab of villages trailing from Tumaloda up to the border of Basal and down again to a small town named Ux, Uxuit. Let's call it Uxuit. I hope I don't read it again. Uxuit, which was the quickest settlement a settlement needs your help. Quickest settlement to respond to Kraft's cries for succession. Gradually, more requests for protection were sent out by towns disgruntled with their lordship, and soon the map of Hakaj was marred by an ugly scar of a country that spidered out from the mountains. Cutting through forests, rivers, and fields, this border grew and grew, and at all times it was accompanied by a surge of royal guard along its length. To Kraft's surprise, Prince Vysen merely had his troops watch and never engage. See, he's not that bad of a guy. Deciding to threaten the prince had been a bold strategy and could have easily ended in an escalation, but by all accounts, the gamble looked to be paying off. The prince was keeping his distance, to the point that Kraft was tempted to call the man a coward, though he knew better. Vysen was called Orc Sworn for a reason. The man was a shrewd political navigator, to the point he'd brokered peace with the unruly Vorgmash hordes to the west. See? Again, I think this man approached the prince largely inappropriately. This man clearly is just a negotiator. If he can do that, then I feel like Kraft should have at least tried to be reasonable with the prince. Because me personally, when I meet a new person, I try to lure all the knowledge that I know from other people's words about them. Let's say hypothetically, if I knew a bunch of people that knew one person, right? I always tune them out and let the other person practically speak to me. Allow the person to speak to me, to whether or not the other people I've talked to, I personally like to meet people as they are, try to talk things out with them, and pretend that, I wouldn't say pretend, but like it's kind of difficult per se. Like I try to at least. That was my phone. It's just a notification. I'd at least try to see for who they are through their actions and through their words and through how they behave, right? I feel like communication should have been key here with Prince Vysen. So just say, hey, I send a letter with a messenger or something. Hey, I have had problems with one of your knights, Garku, and Arwitz, who tried to assassinate me, and there are several witnesses who, by the way, will they agree this person was an asshole. Um, and they there was no like there was no proper negotiations. There was nothing. Maybe we could see things through. Maybe we can like he stepped on my foot basically. I don't want to step on your foot. Is there a way that we can do things peacefully? Because Prince Vison's a new individual. He's a separate individual. Garkuo was reasonable, but not as reasonable as Arwitz. Arwitz was not reasonable whatsoever. So therefore, you would hopefully, in hopes, right, that Prince Vison would be reasonable because of the fact that he was known as Orc Sorn. He made peace with the Vorgmash hordes. So if he can do that, you should at least say, hey, listen, we don't want to get on the wrong. Orwitz already got on the wrong foot. I killed him. He's dead. Garkuo, I arrested. In good faith, I'm willing to give you back Garkuo, right? In good faith, I'm willing to give you back Garkuo if we could just talk things out. This doesn't need to escalate into a war. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to threaten you. And hopefully you don't need to threaten me. And we could all be kumbaya. We could even sit next to each other at the dinner table, like grown men. Anyways, I'm gone into a rant here. I just feel like there should at least be an attempt to negotiate with the prince instead of just threatening him outright. See, Kraft is not a good character in my opinion. He's this threatening someone outright, right, without Hatchery having to meet them first. Now, granted, it would have been risky because he could just arrest you. It's like, oh, hey, you rebelled against me and my men, and Horowitz, you're under arrest. Die. Go to prison. Do not, go to jail. Yeah, I'm just saying that there should have been at least some sort of an attempt at negotiation. I'm just saying, maybe send letters to him, an email. Just send him a letter to him. Send a messenger, something. Peace can only meet peace if there was an attempt. You threatened the prince. So there is peace, but only because you threatened them. And so I don't like that. But however, that's good. That's not a sign of bad writing. That's a sign of what type of character Kraft is. So I just want to put that on. No doubt he understood the threat posed by Kraft and the country he inspired into existence. Vyson was biding time, scheming inside his palace like the clever man he was. And while that should probably garner some alarm, Kraft felt content to let him do it. The turns had been clear, and so long as he abided, Kraft could prepare, could grow the protectorate, and could train his own army. And that he did. Before long, the new year came and went a second, a third, a fourth time, and in that time, the borders became more defined. The cars were slowly eating away, town by town, village by village, and with a proper militia trained by members of the endless 80 spreading through the territory, there was a nar- there was nary a thing the principality could do about it. Whatever it was that paralyzed him, whatever it was that paralyzed them, be it fear, indecision, or tactical restraint, time enough was given that a frontal assault would be a bloodbath for both sides. Even if Hakaj was ultimately victorious with its greater numbers, the victory would be pyrrhic at best. Espionage was the clear alternative, or negotiation, though they would find themselves equally stumped there. Between Kraft's magic inventions and Ryan's experience in spying, the protectorate was quick to adapt the most advanced counterintelligence network in all of Echion. Foreign agents trying to pose as militia were ousted almost as soon as they stepped foot in the barracks. Thieves were ensnared in traps too fine to be seen with the naked eye, and peace envoys were always relieved of their most hidden deadly effects before being turned away. In effect, Hakaj was left in the cold with only two routes: ignorance or peace, and I hope I read the reader. Oh, peace. Peace. Kraft let the letter fall to his desk, fingers brushing at his craggy stubble. Such a simple word, and yet it always felt so hollow. For, for 4 years, sleep avoided him for a fear a war would break out in any second. But here he was, with a letter delivered fresh from Terith's hand. Terith's hand. I can't believe it, he mumbled, folding the paper and pressing the crease. And I can't believe it, he mumbled, folding the paper and pressing the crease. Warranted that disbelief, Terith agreed, running a hand through his murky gray locks. 4 years and 4 years and give up the goat, do they? Another trap like the last envoy. Another trap like the last envoy. I think if it should have been another trap, comma, like the last envoy. But whatever. Kraft shook his head. This is with the prince himself. I think they're throwing in the towel. And then more. Excuse me. Excuse me. Then more to your hesitation should be. Iramal says that silver tongues stab deeper than silver daggers. Yeah, and the last man that tried to use a silver tongue on me had it torched outside of Merson with the rest of his body. Confident as one may be in power, should you not think of yourself more vulnerable? Standing, Kraft massaged his aching fingers, pawing uselessly at the grease that coated them. He glanced at the armor that sat in the corner of his shop in half-assembled mess, core components gutted for retrofit. It seen sporadic use since his threat 4 years ago, a presence he'd use only to remind Kaj what they were facing when a new town decided to succeed. Even still, it needed maintenance. And even he'd even seen that he even seen to that religiously. Sure, he could have just used the Beyonder's gift to will it into good repair, expending a fraction of the resources. But the knights camping with the Templar to and from Madro had opened the door for him to appreciate this serenity that maintaining a weapon of war might bring. But as much as maintaining it could steady his nerves, the metal was poison along his fingers, representing been fighting against the everything he'd been fighting against the whole time. Struggle, war, abusing the gift, and corrupting the world with anachronistic technology. It was a necessary blotch, penned by the Beyonder with craft as the quill, which made his ink boil. That'd be funny. If, like he's actually this entire time he was actually just made out of ink. Krath prayed to whatever god was listening that he never had to use the blasted thing again. Oh, okay. It's actually the opposite, he hummed, rubbing his eyes. I'm terrified that no one can stop me. And what that might lead me to do. An apprising look descended on his sombrant friend. Boxing nose crinkled and his eyes pulled. Wonder, I do. Had I left you in that forest, where be we today? Not on the constant verge of war, Kraft replied, shooting him a sideways glance. True, but many things there are that are rusted and on the verge of breaking. Does it not stand to reason that the one to fix it must need to break something before it can be repaired? Before a flaw is even made known? A smile split along Teresa's black skin. Therese, uh, Teresa's black skin. Teresa. Gawking. Kraft failed to respond. Every answer warbling to death inside his windpipe. He looked away, busying his hands and tidying his tools. By tidying his tools and smudging the letter with his thumbs. I suppose so. Pushing off the desk, he held the letter out to Jareth, whatever, and it was smoothly pulled from his hands. Send this off to Aramel. Tell him to arrange the meeting. The sooner we get this deal done, the sooner I can marry Ryan in peace. Yes, marriage. Although now you think about it, he married the first woman that he befriended. Not including Nere's wife or Tera's wife. Whatever. Again, I don't care. Peace accords and a wedding. A pleasant thought. Teresa agreed. More the time that finds you, please do spend it on poor Nir. Oh, Safiri. Okay, so Safiri and Nir are married. Safiri and the sons have missed your visits these last few months. If only I give a shit. And I could do with someone else to sit them for the weds. Kraft chuckled. That's just because I bring them all new toys every time I come over. But I suppose you've earned a break. If this peace talk goes well, I'll look forward to seeing them all. With a wave, he shooed Terith, uh, whatever, Terith, towards the door. Now get the hell out of my shop. You're holding up the get the hell out of my shop. You're holding up the peace times. That, I suppose, I am. Terith bowed with a hearty titter. Have a good evening, fair Lord Artificer, Artificer, blah. Fair Lord Artificer. Popping on his feet, Terith walked. Terith? Why do I keep saying Terith? It's Terith. Terith, or whatever. Terith. Terith walked his way to the shop's door and left. Bethesda stopped. It fades. With a sigh, Kraft worked to clean his workspace a little more. Kraft worked to clean his workspace a little more before retiring for the night. He wrung his hands of grease at one of his sinks and turned off the lights, climbing his way upstairs where he found Ryan already occupied with a book and a mug of warmed mead next to the fire. Let me the wink. Really can't resist breaking into the good stuff, he breathed, walking up to place his lips on her forehead. It is really chilly. It is good for chilly nights like tonight, she replied, like it was just a fact of life. And honestly, he didn't quite feel the need to argue with her logic. He sat down next to her, wriggling his body into hers to share the warmth under the thick knit blanket Meredith's family had surprised them with 2 years back. And I don't give a shit. Pressing his lips to her temple, Kraft snatched at the mug, pulling it free from her unsuspecting fingers and taking a swig of the honeyed drink in one fell move. Hey, get your own! Kraft laughed, as he handed the mug back. Steal from my stores and expect me to have empathy when I steal it back? I didn't know angels could be hypocrites. In fact, I didn't know angels could get cold. We can be both, I assure you. Semicolon. We are still fallible. Yeah, we are still fallible creatures. Excuse me. And I would press you to stop your teasing, lest you be left cold tonight. Ryan shot back. Her glare filled not with spite, but with jest. I think we both know that neither of us wants to be cold tonight, he commented, narrowing his eyes at her. Go ahead, test your luck, she smiled back. Without a moment's notice, he swiped a kiss from her lips, eliciting a trickle of giggles. There was a temptation to press the advantage and take things to the bedroom. Ooh, la, la, la. But his heartbeat was steady and calm, and he found himself relaxing in the warmth of the fire with her. Their kiss lingered but faded into a comfortable silence. With his head on her shoulder, and her eyes in her book, errant sips of mead passed between them. If you could go anywhere in all of Echian, where would you like to go? Ryan my head. Ryan lifted her head, setting the empty mug aside. I could go anywhere in Echian, and of all the places I would rather be, it is here with you. Okay, sweet, blah, blah, blah. Kraft shook his head. That's not what I meant. If we could go anywhere, yeah, if we can go somewhere together, worry free, where would you be interested in going? She was silent, semicolon. Her face was drawn and pensive. I suppose the land to the southwest called Anpintes. It is home to the first prophet of Marvatir likes. Yeah, likes. Let's call it. Let's just say likes. Likes and subscribe. Sorry, likes. I heard. I heard the. I heard tell. I heard tell from. Yeah, I heard tell from other angels that it is a beautiful country, lush with. It says top chat. It's supposed to be just live chat. Thank you. Let me see something. Timestamps, reactions, pop up chat, pop up chat. No. Yeah, no, this is not working. I don't like that. Store chat. Sorry, I was reading that note that setting. I was wondering if that did anything, but no. Lush with fields, mountains, and rivers. I would very much like to see it. Okay, Kraft murmured, pressing his cheek to her hair. Let's see if we can get there together at some point. I would enjoy that greatly, Rind beamed up at him. Only her smile didn't quite last, its corners weary. Soon it slipped, and the book in her hands was set aside with the mug. But I fear there is much to come soon. There are rumblings of discontent in the world. I hear it. I hear it like a vile string, like a vile string pulled tautly and about to snap. Shifting to pull her in tighter, Kraft breathed. We're looking into peace accords with Hakkaj. They've come to us this time. Whatever rumblings you're hearing are whatever rumblings you're hearing are just white noise. I fear that is not the case, shaking her head. She grabbed his hands and squeezed. This discontent is greater than anything I have ever felt. Worse than when you came to worse when you came to Etienne, or whom, or yeah, excuse me, or when you died. 4 years departed, and still his brush with death derailed her thoughts. He could only imagine what it was like to be so attuned. He could only imagine what it was like to be so attuned to the universe as to feel as to feel your lover almost meet their end. And every day thereafter, he thanked whoever would listen that he wasn't. But that just made what she said next all the more unnerving. I fear it is something beyond this, something bad, almost as if it was the Beyonder himself. Greth paused. An angel's instinct wasn't something to ignore lightly. The little trip to Anpine Hills he started planning in his head came to a halt. Came to a halt. The problem was, what was she feeling? What was coming? Something worse than Hakaj looking to reclaim his territory? That would be actually awesome if like something came to Hakaj to reclaim its territory, and the Prince Bison's like, "Yo, hey, dude, let's team up. I will be nice, but we need to get rid of this bad guy. This guy's bad. If we don't do something, if we don't cooperate, we will die. I am willing to work with you, Kraft, or vice versa. Like, hey, Kraft going to Prince Vice and said, hey, listen, we need to work things out together. We need to stop being bad. Not bad. We need to stop being mean to each other or whatever. We need mean to each other. We need to stop being so tense. Guys, chill. Daddy, chill. Sorry. Guys, chill. We need to work things together. We need to work together to defeat this awful bad guy that's coming to Hakaj, and he or she, it thing is going to kill us all unless we are cooperative. And then Prince Bison is like, fine, whatever, or Kraft, depending on who starts the conversation. Like Kraft is like, oh, fine. Guess we're working together. I'm Hermit the Crab. I am Kermit the Frog. Whatever. To looking to reclaim its territory, how does one prepare for something they do not know? Their answer was simple: act on what you do know. Well, whatever it is, I pray it takes its time getting here. Kraft finally said, snuggling in closer with her. Her heartbeat was pleasant against his, and he lost himself to it. Let's just enjoy the peace we can get while we have it. Staring into the fire, her even breathing began to lull him into a pleasant doze. With his fingers dragging through her ashen locks, he tried to memorize every sensation of this moment, as if it were the last reprieve he'd ever be allowed. He exhaled. Even if it's just 20 more minutes, that's all we need. Or a few years until he publishes the next book. About the author. I'm rereading about the author again. About the author. Raymond McNeil is also known as the Celtic Phoenix. Raymond McNeil, also known as the Celtic Phoenix, is a crazy person based out of Ohio that occasionally thinks he might be able to use a keyboard and use a whole bunch of semicolons. Known mostly for making analytical videos, critiquing you forgot a comma there. That if I can ignore all the semicolons in the world, but you forgot a comma after videos. I do not. No. Wait, hold on. Let me reread this. Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe right. For making analytical videos critiquing a myriad of genres across media. Okay, never mind. I thought it was a continuation of yeah, I'm stupid. Okay, no. I can't forgive all the semicolons. Yeah. Well, anyways, no. Critiquing a myriad of genres across media. He spends his Yeah, he's. This is a long sentence. I don't know. There's a second sentence, but I'm still should have been this period there. He spends his days being bothered by his cats and trying to stave off a crippling addiction to Pepsi. Pepsi Man, Pepsi Man. Yeah, okay. And that's Celtic Phoenix. So yeah, um, and that's from the World of Vault Finder. Okay, so finally done. End story. Now let's talk about the story, and let's not talk about the comparison. Let's not talk about the comparison between this and Shad's book. Let's just talk about the Artificer itself. No fluff. There's no fluff. It's a fluffless story. There's no floof. Sorry, no floof. Sorry, floof, the artist. There's no floof. There's no fluff. And what do I mean by that? I don't mean foxes. I don't mean creatures with fur that goes poof, or fuzzy, cute creatures of the day and the night. I don't mean sheep. I don't mean cats, dogs, or vixen, or chinchillos. I think that's how you pronounce it, chinchillos or whatever. Chinchillos. I don't mean Pokemon that are fluffy. No, there's no fluff in the sense of me caring about this world, or why I care about Toma. Why should I care about Tomaloda? Why should Kraft care about Tomaloda? Other than he's just there. Why is Kraft? Okay, not Kraft. So like why does Kraft care about other people being screwed over, right? Where's Kai? Okay, there's another. There's all these notifications. That has nothing to do with what I'm dealing with now. Okay, where's Kai? Where's Bob the Builder? Okay, not Builder, Bob the Builder. Sorry. Why should I care about Therese other than the fact that he helped him out and Kraft helped him out in return, and vice versa and whatnot? Why should I care more about Nirth and Sophia? Sophia, not Sophia. Her kids. The fact that he gives them toys. Yeah, Sophia. Sorry, Nirth and Sophia. Why should I care about Aramal? Oh no, he nearly died. Oh no, the I, why should I care about the people of Merson? There's no fluff. There's no expendable characters, or not expendable characters. There's no extended characters, or whatever you want to call them. There's not enough characters. Period. That's another thing. There's not enough characters. There's far too little characters, and technically speaking, you don't need to have a whole lot of characters. But like, there's not enough care for the world, the background. There's not enough care for the background. There's only enough care for, barely enough care for the foreground. I care about Kraft. I don't want him to die again. He did die again, but he forced himself to live through his hand, right? Or I'm assuming that's what is said it happened, but I don't know if Kraft did that on his own, or the trickster god, the Beyonder, did that on his own, or if some other god from behind the curtains helped him out, like, hey, you can do this now. I do not like the Beyonder. He's annoying little shit. Excuse my language. He's a little prick. I don't like him. Thor does plans, right? Thor this man's plans, right? I kind of do care, but only because Kraft's the main character. That's only the reason why. It's not because I want him to go back to Rhine. Do I care about Ryan? A little bit. That's it. Only because of her personality and maybe her ties to Horowitz for a time being, I guess. I kind of want to know more about the angel, the artificer, and the angel. um, I kind of want to care about these things, but you never actually made me care about these things. For some reason, I cared about Kai because Krath made a big stink about it in the beginning of the story. It was his final moments. It was having a big stink about Kai, right? That pen is still there. That we never get to explore it, or maybe we did. Maybe we will be able to explore it. Maybe he's like, okay, hold that pin. Maybe hold that pin, right? Maybe he has that pin to like something to explore in the next book. There is a few other pins. Obviously for sequel, this is sequel baked. Not Kai. That's my that's just my acknowledgement of the fact that Kai just kind of sort of exists as a name and that's it. I don't know why. Whatever. I'm now that the story's over. No, I now don't care about Kai. She never came back. There was no. Oh, hey, I'm also you reincarnated into this world. Hi. That's another thing. There's another pin that like exists that I haven't talked about. The fact that these people know about other people with similar abilities, right? Similar powers and abilities. This is the same thing that Overlord has everyone just like, hey, put a pin on it, right? But we haven't seen any fruit of this happening. He just keeps conquering kingdoms. The Overlord just keeps on conquering kingdoms in hopes to find someone he knows, or maybe it's to find another player. But he doesn't meet another player. He doesn't meet someone that's also from his guild. We don't even. There's a hint that he will eventually meet someone from his guild. It doesn't come to fruition or anything like that. It's just there. I think the audience gets a glimpse. I'm told by my brother that we do that from because of the anime. I haven't read the book. He's reading the books, but he's told that the two characters that kind of just exist are also from there's a character or two that we see in the anime, but they don't make any interactions with the Overlord. He claims that those people are, and Dominic says that those people are from the game, from his world or whatever. But anyways, that has yet to come to fruition. Just kind of that's just kind of dangling. Kai is a comparison to that, right? I'm actually hoping that like maybe that Kai turns out to be a guy that turns out to be a guy who also has this power, or maybe some other character. You could introduce a different character who also has the Beyonder's gift, or a different Beyonder's gift. Maybe it doesn't have to be an arm. It could be just some other. Maybe he has to winkle his nose, snap his fingers, something, tap his foot. Kick something. I don't know. Maybe it's just his brain or her brain. I keep saying he, but like I'm assuming Kai is a him, he, him, or you know what? It would be interesting if maybe his father dies and enters this world. That sounds like it's the sequel stuff. The real sequel bait is who Prince Bison is as a person, as an individual. Uh, will we finally confront the Beyonder again? Like obviously that's how like will we confront the Beyonder, or him him outsmarts the Beyonder or whatever. Right. Maybe something happens in the sequel, but I have just to wait. I just have to wait. That's all. I just have to wait until then. Um, but like I just don't give a crap about this world. I don't give a shit. I hate to say that. I hate to use foul language too, but like you're not giving me a reason for me to care about why Kraft. Does he care? Why does he care? Is it just because he gets money and it's just because he can continue helping these people out? Like you're not giving me anything here. Um it I feel like it will all play out in the sequel, but like I'm just like this will hurt a much larger audience reading this book because oof, because of the lackness of me wanting to care about these people, not because of like a lack of empathy. Obviously, I would do the same. I would help out in any possible, not do the same everything that he's done in the book, but I mean, like I'll help out. I'll help people out to my best abilities. I'm just saying, like, there's just a lot of just nothing going on here. Um, yes, he kills wyverns, but for his benefit, because he doesn't want to get die. It doesn't. Yeah, there's no moment where he rises to the action and well, I mean, he rises to the action, but it's not because of the town, but because of him. I mean, yeah, I think he kind of sort of explains that he wants to save the town from Orwitz because then he could, but like it feels like to me, it's because we're reading this from a second person or the omnipresence, right? We're reading this from an omnipresence perspective. It just seems like to me, like he's. I don't think he's say. I hate to see this. I like. It's not bad writing that like he's selfish and he wants to save the town because saving the town also saves him, right? Uh, I'm not saying that's bad writing. I'm just saying that it's like that's like I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's just there's not enough for me to care just because he just so happens to care, right? It just feels like that. It doesn't feel like he like it doesn't feel like he doesn't it doesn't feel like he has a connection or like he's deeply rooted in Tomalota, right? I like why does he care for and why does he care about Aramal, other than the fact that oh hey he defended him like hey Aramal was willing to like be reasonable here like yeah it's all in self-defense my dude uh Horowitz shut up this is all in the self-defense and no we're not going to hand over one person just because you guys are assholes no you guys are jerks you guys are being meanies right that like there's not a connection. There's not a reason for me to care about all these characters, to care about Tomalota, other than that Kraft cares. It's sort does he care? Like I don't actually know that. It seems like he cares, but it also seems like it's because of the fact that he has a shop, the fact that he just lives here, right? So like I don't know. There's just not enough motivation. It's not motivation. There's not a convincing motivation, not for me to side with anyone here, other than no, screw Arowitz. Arowitz is a bad person. Obviously, get rid of him. That's the only thing I agree with, and that's just it. It's just well, whatever. Fine, here we go. Arowitz is bad. Let's protect this town, that town, and the other town from Marowitz. But like, I just there's not enough care. There's not. I don't care about in the interlude. I don't care about Safiri's children. Oh yeah, he gives them gifts, but we don't meet them. We don't meet these townspeople. He literally in the book, he doesn't even know who Goofy is. I say Goofy, but like there's a random person that shouts like, "Yeah, I agree with this person," or "Yeah, hey, what about this?" There's. I mean, he's not saying he has to know the townspeople, but like, or every single townsperson. But like, I feel like there could have been more fluff. Like he just exists. He's just an introvert, I guess. Maybe I don't know. I I just wish there was just more here, and there's not. And I'm not saying it needs to be as big and as thick as Lord of the Rings. I'm saying that like it just needs to feel like it's real. I guess. And it like it it's a fictional story, but like I need to be immersed into Tomalota. I need to actually feel like, hey, I could potentially write my own Vault Finder character or whatever to live in Tomalota. Or hey, I feel very connected. I like the fact that this character is very connected to Tomalota. Like, why is he even bothering to protect Tomalota other than his freedom? It's a selfish reason, right? But like, I just don't I want to know the bridge that like you build a bridge, you build but only build two ends of the bridge. They're not connecting. They're not connecting to me. Like, oh, he wants to protect Tomalota. He wants to protect himself, right? Okay, good. Yes, by protecting Tomalota, also protects himself. But he could just move, or he could just that's another thing. Like, does why does he want to connect? Like, there's there needs to be more than just like I feel like personally there needs to be more than just like I'm protecting Tomalota then because I live here. Okay, but why do you live here? Why do you stay? Do you know the people of Tomalota? Why do you care about the people of Tomalota? What makes the bridge actually connect other than good business, I guess? Right? I feel like that's not, I feel like that doesn't connect to me. You haven't sh- shown me, you haven't shown me like the connection. It just, oh, hey, the festival happens. Oh, hey, people coming to him because they need things fixed. They don't go to him because they like him. They don't go to him because he helps out or if whatever he has a he just they go to him because they fit. It's probably because it's cheaper or whatever. They don't. You don't. It, You added the toy. You added like, oh, he fixed these he makes children toys. At the end of, not even at the end of the story, at the epilogue of the story. So you only add the fluff at near the end, not the end, after the end. So like, help, help. I am not angry. I'm just frustrated at like, I just feel frustrated. That's all. There's not enough fluff. I don't care. Me as a reader, I don't care about Tomalota. I don't care about these other towns. That's another thing. Why do we care about these other towns? We could just simply just only care about Tomalota. Granted, that ruined. Okay, now granted, they did say that like, okay, trade was bad, whatever. Oh no, trade. The trade's not doing so well. Okay, fine. It does make sense from an on paper point of view. They're like, okay, if we continue trade, if we can save this town and this town, right? Then trade can continue with these towns. But then they're, you know, but the problem is like, what if you don't like? What if Kraft doesn't like the people of a certain town, but he knows he needs to save them, right? You could have had some sort of melodrama. Yeah, melodrama. Yeah, just tiny driplets of drama. Like, oh, I don't like these people over here. Oh, and I don't have to save that town. I could just save just this town, and just save Tomalota and this neighborhood, but not that town. Just leave that town around. I feel like there should be more reason to care about these other towns, or melodrama, just something, anything, reasons. Like, come on, is it much to ask to write in an engaging story? Like, even Will the Mill is a short story, but it's a conflict between whether or not the guy will move to the city. And not only that, he meets people that travel to his hotel, and he meets a girl who he thinks about, and he's like, should I marry this woman? Should I not marry this woman? She dies, or she gets married, and then she dies, and then he feels, well, I refuse, because I refused to change, right? I die alone. It's a sad, depressing story of a man who refused to change. Like, yeah, they changed the mill to a hotel or an inn or whatever, right? But he refused to go to the city. He refused to like meet new people and whatnot. He he refused to get married and have kids, to have a legacy. He died. Practically, yeah, he died alone. The mill the mill is not going to have, unless someone, now I don't know if like someone buys the land, or the I don't know how land ownership worked back then, or the mill just becomes abandoned because now it's just a motel that just nobody lives there anymore. I don't know if he sold it or whatever, but regardless, like, yeah, he died alone. He uh just stayed there at the mill. It was depressing, but I cared about the characters that he that he meets along the way, because they interact with him, and so they tell, they tell him, like, no, don't go. It's engaging. The characters engaged with the main characters, and the side characters engaged with the main character, and the whole it just seems like just that. It's just, what I'm trying to say is, it felt like I was drawn into that world, right? It felt like I could possibly been a individual going to the mill, staying for a night. I like it. It was a world. It's a short story, right? No, but like it was, stuff happened. Time went on, and but like and then, but I cared about the characters there, because they they lived their lives at the mill, and then they lived, and he lived. I cared about the main character because he cared about not changing. He cared about not going to the city, only staying at his mill and only doing things his way, right? And I just there's stuff, it's just. And so with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, it's a short story, but I also cared about the characters in that story, uh, how he handled people's wills, the main character, how he handled people's wills, whether or not they were in danger, the chase of Mr. Hyde, finding out that Dr. Jekyll was Mr. Hyde, but there was no transformation. There was no, there was a transformation, but we didn't get to witness the transformation between the two characters. They left it a mystery. The modern films and movies or whatever would probably show the audience the transformation between Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But we're reading the actual story of, I cared about Mr. Hyde because he needed therapy. That's just, he needed therapy. I cared about Dr. Jekyll because he too needed therapy. Have you ever seen them in the same room together? No. Anyways, but like it was also still left, by all accounts, it was also still left a mystery, sort of unsolved. He made the connection to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde were one and the same, but but like they were just bewildered. I cared about the kid. I think he attacked a child or something like that. But anyways, like there was melodrama. there was stuff that has happened that had consequences, which, by the way, Shad did not explored. There are consequences in this book. By doing this happened, and by doing that, this also happened, right? But like at least it felt like there was a world, right? Now, this feels like it had more of a world than Shad's book, despite all the blah 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 blah. There was nothing but like the more I learned about the world that that Dallas, whatever his name is, Dalen. The more I learned about the world that Dalen's world was, it felt like the less I knew. It's odd. I don't know how that worked. I don't know how you can tell me more information about something, and then I somehow not somehow know less about the something. You know what I'm saying? And that he managed to do it. Wow, congrats. But with this, tells us just what the land looked like. Less is more. I will say, less is more. I'm curious about more about the world that they live in, but The problem is that I don't care about the people in the world because we haven't actually get to meet the people in the world, the interactions with him and the characters. Yes, he does meet people, but there's no melodrama. There's no small little stuff that happens. There's nothing interesting to happen. If he had given it, there's no situation where, like, had he given gifts to Safiri's kids or whatever, uh, earlier in the book, then I probably would have liked that. Well, had he had conversation with the children, I would like that. But here's the thing: the children weren't born. If they were if they were more interacting with Nerith and Sophia and Doraz and Aramel, maybe if Aramel had children and maybe he gave them toys or whatever, or maybe if he talked to Aramel's wife or something, I don't know, something. There wasn't. There was interactions with characters. Don't get me wrong. There was like, oh hey, I'm Doraz. I want this wand fixed. I think it was a wand. I don't care anymore. I want something fixed. Okay, here you go. Fixed. Oh, thank you. How much could I pay you? Oh, whatever. I forgot that. But it wasn't important to me because we didn't meet Doraz later in the story. We did sort of, but like not. We didn't. There weren't any further interactions. We meet the Templar of Inferno a couple times, but he's basically the Vault Finder's version of Doom Guy, but I'm guessing, but we don't learn anything about him other than he's the Templar, the Infernal Templar, right? Okay, he was at a war. Fine, whatever. I'm done here. I'm ranting. I've ranted. I'm tired. My mouth is dry. It always does this whenever I start reading out loud. It's I've been here for about an hour or two. This was supposed to be just for an hour long, but there was this is just a rant, at this point. Uh, uh 2 stars. 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah. I know, sounds harsh, but I didn't love it. I liked it. I just didn't love it. I want to love it, but I can't. I have to be honest. And honesty is my best policy. Don't get me wrong, the FNAF book, some of the FNAF stories can be 2 stars. Some of the FNAF stories can be 3 stars, but this so far is 5 stars. This is so far 10 stars, and I'm only giving everyone else 5 stars. Every story, that one is 5 star. But like, yeah, it's just, yeah, oh well, it is what it is. But speaking of what it is, tonight, hopefully, I can throw this away now. I probably should have thrown it away because of the microplastics. Yeah, like I said, there's supposed to be a stream happening, probably at 8 or 9. Maybe we might do it. We might not. But I need to end it in this stream now. Maybe stay tuned. This may or may not be the final stream of the year, but stay tuned for the next stream. If we do it tonight. If we don't do it tonight, then we don't do it tonight. If we do it Monday, we might do it Monday. we can't do it Sunday. No, I don't like doing live streams during the Sunday. We might it'll hurt me a little bit, my pride. I prefer not to do streams on Sunday, but if we do a stream on Sunday, fine, whatever. I mean, that's probably what I'm gonna have to do next year, anyways. Is just do do a stream, do some streaming on Saturday and Sundays. So I'm now open to that discussion. Might do streams Monday and Friday, depending on how consistent my schedule is. Now that my schedule has opened up a bit, so now I can have some more wiggle room from work. So yeah, that's good. So yeah. Oh, next year is gonna be a big year. Hopefully, I could do a whole lot of just cool stuff. The for the Transformers, um, for the Transformers collection, we'll be covering mostly the Constructicons and two of the now I know this is not studio series, but two of the Minosaur Stunticons. Sorry, the Constructicons and the Stunticons. So yeah, this year will be combiners. But we'll start with the studio series, Devastator. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And for Star Wars, we're continuing the Phantom Menace, and then we'll do the Attack of the Clone characters next for the Star Wars collection. As for Halo, hopefully I'll find something. But yeah, that's all for today for this stream. See you all until next time. Bye bye.